Hi, I'm Julie from the Buzz Agency, and I'm so pleased to be here with the newly appointed Family Law Section Executive Council member, Attorney William Trace Norvell. Good morning, Trace.
Good morning.
So the Family Law Section, we're super excited to launch a monthly series of interviews with Executive Council members, like Trace, to introduce our members to the leadership team and to let you know a little bit more about who they are and what they do on behalf of the section. So we hope this also might inspire you to get more involved in this section and its mission to promote professionalism within the field and to help Florida families. So welcome, Trace.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. We're glad you're our first one. So you're the taskmaster. Tell us a little bit about your firm, where you guys are located, and what your practice area is.
So I work for the Reed Law Group. We are, as a firm, together. We've been together a little over 2 years. I joined about 6 months into the firm being formed. As when I came on board. We're in Boca Raton, Florida, and we are 100% family law practice.
Wonderful. So when did you join the section? How long have you been involved with the family law section? And what are your current roles now within the section?
So I joined the section immediately after passing the bar. So I was kind of a late bloomer to the legal field. So I was a school teacher for the better part of a decade, and then went to law school. And then when I got out and was at a practice that was 100% family law, I joined the section. So that would have been in 2017. So I've been involved since then. Currently, I'm on a slew of committees, but I am the committee chair for the technology committee, and I'm on the legislative committee, and the executive council committee.
Well, you are very busy on behalf of the section, it sounds like.
Yeah. I'm also currently the editor of the FAMSAG, and I'm the website liaison member.
Okay, so I should have asked you what you don't do for the section.
There's a lot I don't do. There's a lot I don't do.
I know it takes a village to run the entire thing.
Mostly anything with money, and I don't want to deal with right now. So math was not. Yeah, I was a school teacher. I was a social studies teacher and then a lawyer. Math was not something that I was strong at growing up and going into my adulthood.
Okay, you will not be on the finance committee then. Okay, so what are you personally focusing on in your role on the executive council this year? And tell us a little bit about how you think the council's role is important to the mission of the section.
Well, that's interesting. So being a new member, in the executive council, some of it's just making sure I'm doing what I did when I was on other committees, showing up to everything, being prepared, reading all the material, so that when I show up, I'm able to actively participate in discussion. But I think, anytime you start something new and you get on something to begin with, a little bit of a learning curve. You gotta see how everything flows and how everything works. But so I'm learning that piece, and then as that goes on, getting more involved and stepping up. I still also have my role as a committee chair, which adds to, executive council position as well, especially the technology committee, which is, I think, very important. As far as what the council does, the executive council is kind of it's the heartbeat of the family law section. If without, whereas the committees can be, the committees would be the brains, kind of like that's where everyone's doing things and running. I mean, you can, like if it's your body, you can't move your fingers without your brain, but you can't survive without your heart, and so the council is the heart, where if it wasn't for them and making sure that everything's on track and making sure that things keep moving and the blood keeps pumping, then the family law section would fall apart and not function.
That's great. It sounds like a very important role. It's the lifeblood of the organization. In your various roles in the section, what have you found that has helped you personally and professionally by being involved with the section?
Well, I mean, there's the social side that's invaluable. There's a lot of other lawyers that I've met, not just in my area in South Florida, but throughout the state, that have allowed me to expand and bounce. Sometimes, you think about in the history, you think about those like forums where it's like brilliant people would get together and discuss topics that you wouldn't be able to discuss on the street. And when you go to a section event, you get to do that. You get to bounce ideas off of that you normally aren't bouncing off your run-of-the-mill person, and get an answer and have a debate and discussion, and that's invaluable. In addition to that, I'm one of those people that likes to know things and being in the know, and it's so valuable to know what the new legislation that's coming down, to understand how the practice is going to be changing 2, 3 years, 5 years down the road ahead of the game. So, and then be part of that change. And you can't put a price tag on that.
Sounds invaluable. So if someone is a member of this section but is not yet really involved, what kind of advice would you give them to maybe inspire them to join a committee and become more involved?
Well, I would give them what I just said, as far as like be the social part, and then as far as like wanting to get involved, a lot of people, they seem, I meet people and they're like, well, I don't know anybody, I don't know what to do, how do I get involved? Just show up. A lot of the beginning of getting involved is finding out when the committee meetings are, showing up to committee meetings, sitting there listening to the ones, and then if you have something to say it. If not, just listen and just kind of absorb and understand, and kind of start understanding what's going on. It's become so much easier too with the Zoom meetings as well, because now, there's a more kind of, you're comfortable. You can be comfortable when you join your first meeting or your meetings away. It's not a telephone call that you have to find out about it, because it's not a conference call anymore. And it's not an in-person meeting where you're like, do I really want to walk in a room full of strangers? The Zoom meeting, you're on there, you're listening, you're understanding what's going on. And, especially I think for someone new, I think it's a little easier to walk in to some of the committees that are more like the working, like not working, but like the non-legal aspect of it. So your technology committee, your membership committee, the ones that are more operational, they can be a little easier to jump on board, especially if you're a younger lawyer and you aren't 100% on your grasp of the legal field, the family law field. But without having that, you can help recruit, and you can have ideas on how to drive membership. So the operational committees are a great place to start your involvement into the section.
Publications, sponsorships. I mean, there's all kinds of ways.
Yes.
To get involved for sure. It sounds like it's been an invaluable experience for you, and I really thank you very much for sharing all of that with us. So camaraderie, really, and the knowledge of being around, your peers, and what's going on in the future. That sounds like it's worth the investment. Small investment.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. One of the questions we have to ask all of our interviewees, you have to tell us something not too personal, but something that maybe people don't know about you.
I have that in parentheses, Trace. So the reason I'm called Trace is because I'm William. My full name is William Kleiner Norvell III. And growing up, I'm from an old Southern family where every other person is named William or Billy or Bill, including my dad and grandfather. And so my mother came up with that, the nickname Trace. So I've been called Trace my whole life. But that's why I hyphen, and that's why I answer to Trace.
Well, thank you so much for serving the section and for your time today. And I just want to let everybody know that if you are interested in learning more about what the committees are and how to serve on them. All you have to do is go to familylawfla.org. I think everything you need is there. Sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the commentator and for FAMSEG. Make sure you're in the loop on what's going on. And Trace, I'm sure we want to remind people to go to the social media pages on
Yes.
FLA
Yes.
in Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And then you can connect with more people like Trace. So,
Yeah, I look forward to it.
thank you so much, Trace. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.